Hey Brie, to save tomato seeds, I just squeeze out the seeds into a strainer and rinse them and let them dry on a paper towel. Is that right? That's all there is, right?
That is one way to save tomato seeds, but you could end up with bad germination, or you may end up with a seed or soil-borne disease, and you may actually end up with a different variety of tomato than the one that you saved seed from.
I really want to save seeds next year. A, because I want to save money on seeds. I spend so much money every year. And second is because I do really want to increase the local seed biodiversity. But I want to make sure that I'm doing it right. So Brie, how do I make sure that I save seeds where I don't end up with diseased seeds next year?
Well, lucky for you, I did research on the best way to save tomato seeds to ensure really great germination, to prevent diseases, and for long-term storage. So before we even go about saving tomato seeds, we need to check that the variety we're saving from is called open pollinated. And to check this, look at the seed packet of your tomato plant and look for the letters OP.
What does open pollinated mean?
It means that they were pollinated naturally, either from the same plant or cross-pollinated between the same variety. And this is important because the other option is hybrid. For example, sun gold tomatoes are a hybrid, which mean it was two different types of tomatoes that were cross-pollinated to create that variety.
I don't get it. A seed is a seed. Why can't I save the seeds of a hybrid variety like my sun gold tomatoes?
Because the plants that you would get the following year would be one of the two original varieties, not the hybrid, the sun gold itself.
Ooh, okay, so the bumblebee sunrise tomatoes are open pollinated, so we can save those seeds, right?
Correct. We've also linked our favorite open pollinated tomato varieties in the description box below. The second consideration around open pollinated plants is you want to make sure that the plant that you're saving seed from is not too close to other varieties of tomatoes. Or if it is, that you're going to put some kind of a mesh bag around the flowers of the tomato that you'll save seed from.
Are you worried about cross-pollination? But I thought tomatoes are self-pollinating, like you just have to tap the tomato and it pollinates itself.
That's true, but a bee can go from one tomato flower of one plant to a completely different flower on a different plant. This is why we need to make sure that we are saving seed that is only one variety. So for today, Dee, we are going to save my sunrise bumblebee tomatoes because one, it's open pollinated, and two, it's the only type of tomato I grew this year. Oh, and one really important fact around plant selection for seed saving that I see a lot of gardeners make mistakes on is you want to make sure you are saving seeds from your most healthy, productive plants, because that is the genetic material that you're going to be saving from. So for today's seed saving, I have taken really ripe tomatoes from my healthiest tomato plant.
Okay, great. What now?
Now it's time to save our tomato seeds. So we're going to start with what you mentioned, which is scooping or squeezing the tomato seeds out of the tomato, but we are going to put it into a jar, not a strainer. Then we are going to add a bit of water to the jar, cover it with a paper towel, and let it sit for 24 to 72 hours to ferment. And we want to place this jar somewhere that's cool and dark in your house, and just come along every once in a while and stir it.
Ferment? Why are we fermenting the seeds, and how?
The fermentation process is as simple as what I've already mentioned. It's just leaving these seeds in water for a few days. And these wet conditions cause bacteria to form as well as alcohols, which help break down the gelatinous substance around the seeds, which can inhibit germination. And the bacteria and alcohol will also kill any seed-borne diseases. Now, another great thing about doing it in this way is it's going to increase our long-term seed viability as it decreases molds that can occur on seed once we dry it, of course. So if you wanted to donate some of your seed to a seed library, you could be rest assured that the seed is going to last several years. So I've dried seed here, both using the fermentation process and not, just so you can see the difference in terms of the gelatinous substance that has been cleared from the fermented seeds here.
Ooh, that's really cool. But this just smells disgusting. Ooh, but I also see that the fermentation did not eat away the like button on the seeds.
It did not. So tap that like button if you're gaining value from this video. Now our next step is we're going to take this fermented jar of seeds and water and dump it into a strainer, and then just rinse off any of the leftover meat from the inside of the tomato or gelatin. Next, we want these seeds to dry. So place them on something that is going to absorb some moisture, like a coffee filter, a paper plate, or a paper towel. And just like the jar, we want to make sure that we keep this out of direct sunlight because we don't want to accidentally trigger germination in these tomatoes. Now you want to leave this paper towel or whatever paper substance you're using for about a week or so to let it fully dry. And I've actually already had these sitting out for a week. So then the next step is to remove them from the paper, and then we're going to store them in something that is not going to retain moisture. So I really like using paper envelopes. And then lastly, make sure you name and date the seeds.
Oh yeah, that's a step that I feel really lazy about and I definitely wouldn't do. But I'm pretty sure come next year, I won't remember what seeds are where. So labeling is super important. Also, Bria, I'm really glad I asked you on how to save tomato seeds properly. I feel like now I can have healthy seeds next year. Also, Dirt Magicians, if you want to learn more about growing tomatoes, then definitely check out our video on questions beginner gardeners have about growing tomatoes. There are some interesting questions that I never thought to ask, and the answers really took my tomato growing game to the next level. So check it out.